And I now give the floor to His Excellency, Mr. ARRMANATHA NASIR, Vice Chair of the Committee on the Exercise of the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian People. The floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the committee, I congratulate Brazil for its capable presidency of the Security Council in July, and to thank the UN Deputy Special Coordinator, Ms. Hastings, for her briefing. Mr. President, Israel's continued settlement expansion and land confiscation in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, has grave political repercussions. They constitute grave breaches of international law and relevant United Nations resolutions and undermine the contiguity and viability of the Palestine state and the prospect for realizing a two-state solution on the pre-1967 border that the Security Council, the General Assembly, and the international community as a whole have long endorsed and called for. The committee expresses its concern over ongoing development in Masafer Yatta in the south of the occupied West Bank after the Israeli Supreme Court ruled that the area is to be appropriated by the Israeli military. This action risks forcibly displacing over 1,200 Palestinians, including a large number of women and at least 580 children, the largest forcible expulsion of Palestinians since 1967. As referenced by UNSCO and as reported in the end of the mission statement by the UN Special Committee to investigate Israeli practices of 15 July 2002, the implementation of this decision will test the international community's resolve and the Security Council's ability to take decisive action to uphold international law, the Charter, and to protect Palestinian civilians living under occupation and their home and their livelihoods. The committee calls on the Security Council to clearly and firmly reiterate its demand that the government of Israel and the occupying power immediately end all settlement expansion, demolition, confiscations of Palestinian property, and forcible removal of civilians in compliance with international law and UN resolutions, including Security Council Resolution 2334 of 2016. Mr. President, the committee is alarmed by the increasing violence and casualties in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, over the past month, as reported by Special Coordinator Winsland. We condemn the indiscriminate killing, the excessive use of lethal force against civilians, particularly children, which have become all too frequent and for which no one is held accountable. Protection of civilians is central to the United Nations and the Security Council's work and must be prioritized in the absence of a just solution. Recent finding in the report of the Secretary General on Children and Armed Conflicts highlighted the dramatic increase in grave violation inflicted on Palestinian children. These findings must serve as a stark reminder to the Security Council to act. The committee urges Israeli forces and the Palestinian armed groups to comply with their obligations under international humanitarian law and human rights law and exercise measures to protect Palestinian children caught in the midst of this ongoing tragic conflict. We applaud and join the multiple calls for actions to also protect human rights defender and press freedom. The committee welcomes the UN Human Rights Office preliminary investigation regarding the killing of journalist Shireen Abu Akleh and urge Israel to bring those responsible to justice. The committee also commends the 9 member states of the European Union that have pledged to continue working with the 6 Palestinian civil society groups that Israel labeled as terrorist organizations in October 2021, in the absence of any substantial information to support that allegation. These organizations, some of whom are committee's partners, play a crucial role in promoting democracy and building a robust Palestinian civil society and must continue to be supported. Mr. President, through its multifaceted work, UNRWA plays a crucial role in providing essential services to the Palestinian people. The committee lauds the commitment made by member states at the recent UN pledging conference and joins the Secretary General in urging member states to put the agency on a sustainable financial foundation. By contributing to UNRWA, we contribute to the welfare, the dignity of the Palestinian refugee, and to Middle East peace and stability. We commend the June 2022 findings of the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territory, including East Jerusalem and Israel. We concur with the assessment that the continued Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territory and all its facets, including annexation and the Gaza blockade and policies based on discrimination and segregation, are the primary roots causes of the recurrent tension, instability, and conflicts in the region. The committee pledges to continue its advocacy with member states and the United Nations officials toward resuming negotiation aimed at addressing these root causes, resolving the core issues, and achieving a just and lasting peace. Only a comprehensive political process addressing the unfulfilled promises to the Palestinian people and leading to the realization of their inalienable right, including the self-determination and return, will result in an end to the conflict. In line with its mandate, the committee will continue to advocate its advocacy work, organize public events, and draw attention to the plight of the Palestinian people, inalienable rights, including relations to East Jerusalem. Mr. President, the only way to resolve the question of Palestine is through a two-state solution based on the 1967 border and with two states, Israel and Palestine, living side by side in peace and security, with Jerusalem as the capital of the State of Palestine. We urge the Security Council to act without delay to contribute to the achievement of that solution. I thank you, Mr. President.